Hey everybody, Stephen and Rebecca Smotherman here from Full-Time FBA. I'm excited that you're here hanging out with us during this webinar where we are going to do what we can to help you get out of your sourcing rut and find more inventory to sell on Amazon. Sourcing ruts are not very fun. Nope. So we've got many years of experience between us when it comes to finding inventory, and we've been in sourcing ruts before, and we found ways to get out of those sourcing ruts. No matter how you pronounce it, and we want to help you out today. But before we do, who in the world are we? Why should you trust us? Let me tell you a little bit about Rebecca and I. We are Rebecca and Stephen Smotherman. This is a picture of us. Yeah, thanks for clarifying. This is a picture of us and 3 of my 4 boys. The oldest is grown, but this is us on a vacation trip to the Grand Canyon. And man, that was 2 years ago now.
Yep.
Wow.
2 years.
Yes, because now the boy in the middle is almost as tall as I am now, so that's scary. But we were able to take a trip to the Grand Canyon as a family, thanks to being full-time Amazon sellers. We spend part-time hours to make a full-time income selling on Amazon, and since we had our inventory at Amazon and they were shipping our orders, we had the freedom to take a little time off to take the family to the Grand Canyon. And it was an awesome trip. So that's us. I've been selling online since 1998. That sounds like so long ago.
It is a long time ago.
Man, so over 20 years selling online on eBay and Amazon. And, it was a hobby for a while, but I discovered Amazon FBA in 2011. And man, I fell in love with it. I do eBay very rarely now, but because some stuff just sells better on eBay. But Amazon is where 99.9% repeating of my sales and my time and energy go to when it comes to online sales. In fact, by 2012, I was making a full-time income. And in fact, in 2012, during Q4 of 2012, Amazon awarded me as a top holiday seller in 2012, which meant I was at the top 25% of all sales on Amazon. Plus, I was able to keep an A+ customer satisfaction rating, and that was just really cool. Unfortunately, 2012 was the last time they offered this award, but I was really happy to receive it. It's just awesome with Amazon how quickly you can start finding success. And I definitely found success in 2013 when I married this girl here, the best thing that's ever happened to me. And she joined selling on Amazon with me. I mean, she came to some garage sales with me, and that just kind of wasn't her thing. We started thrifting together, and that was a lot of fun. And then she started doing online arbitrage while I was doing retail arbitrage. And we've been able to both just spend part-time hours to make a full-time income on Amazon. And in 2013, was it 2013 also, later that year?
I want to say 2014.
Okay.
For the blog.
That's right. Started fulltimefba.com, and because I was spending a lot of time on Facebook. How many other people spend too much time on Facebook? Talking about Amazon and other Facebook groups. Well, Rebecca encouraged me to start this blog and Full-Time FBA, where we talk about the different ways that you can spend part-time hours to make a full-time income on Amazon, and tips and tricks, free videos, trainings, walkthroughs, things that you can do to help your Amazon business be more successful. So I encourage you to come to fulltimefba.com and subscribe. Make sure you don't miss out on anything that we have, because we have a lot of free stuff that we give out, and it's pretty awesome.
I just want to correct this. It was 2013.
Oh.
I had to look it up, so it's like, is that right? Because yeah, last year was our 5-year blog anniversary.
Yes.
This year will be 6 years.
Yes, in July we will be experiencing our sixth
blog anniversary.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
That's cool. Well, we have a free gift for you.
Yeah, if you would like to check out our free gift for coming to this webinar, if you go to fulltimefba.com/seller-central-tips, we have a free ebook that will help you to get reimbursements and refunds. It'll help you figure out possibly some other glitches that might be going on in Seller Central that would help you kind of clean up some of your inventory that you might be having problems with. So be sure and check out that ebook, fulltimefba.com/seller-central-tips.
Yeah, Seller Central can sometimes be glitchy.
Yeah, it is known to be glitchy.
Yeah, so this
pretty
book,
much every day.
yeah, yeah. So, but they're doing the best they can, and we have this book to help you fix some of the problems that go on there, and help you not waste any time with glitchy experiences, but to spend more of your time focused on Amazon. Now, be sure that you leave whatever questions you have in the questions area. We'll come back later and have a special Q&A time. Also, at the end of the presentation, we're going to be doing a giveaway. We'll pick a few lucky people who will get a free copy of a course that we're offering. And so just stay tuned for that, because you got to be live to win, must be present to win.
Yes.
Yes, that's awesome.
All right, so we would like to let you know that you are in the right place by watching this webinar if you're an Amazon seller who can't seem to make more money on Amazon no matter how hard you try. You're also in the right place if your regular places to find inventory seem to have dried up and you need some fresh places to source for profitable inventory. That happens from time to time. It is not unusual, so you're in the right place if that has happened to you. Also, you're at the right webinar if you wish you could increase your Amazon sales to be much larger than they are right now.
I think everybody wants that.
Pretty much.
I don't know anybody who's like, I wish my Amazon sales were slower.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're also in the right place if you know that the more items you sell, the more money you can make. So you want to find more inventory to increase your overall profits.
Yeah. So we're excited to talk about this, and let's just kind of go back in time. Go back in time to think about what it was like when you first started selling on Amazon. Most Amazon sellers start this way. You know, you source for inventory at places that are close to home, and you find some success early on. You start finding inventory, and you send it into Amazon, and things begin to sell, and you're like, yeah, I'm getting a disbursement, and I'm making some money, and it's nice. You know what? You're going to places, and you might fill up a cart, or you might go to a couple places, and you get a nice shipment to send to Amazon. And that's what things are like when you're first starting out. You might experience a few little speed bumps here and there with a few restricted items, but you've been told, stick with Amazon. If you're selling Amazon for 6 months, 5 to 6 months, those restricted items are going to start opening up, and you'll be able to see more items open up to you to sell on Amazon. And so you start working towards that, and you even experience that after 5 or 6 months. You start finding that you're able to sell more items, and you find that success early on. And sometimes even happens during Q4. You experience Q4, which, if you're not sure what Q4 is, it lasts 3 months of the year: October, November, December, where sales begin to slowly rise in October, start to shoot up in November, and then are crazy awesome in December. And that's fine. You're hooked. You're like, man, I'm in this. I'm in it to win it. I'm going to do awesome. But then your profits start to plateau. You start to not find as much inventory. You maybe write off certain stores because you had a bad experience. I did that before. I went to Big Lots one time, and I was like, I couldn't find anything, and I didn't go back to Big Lots for 2 years.
Right.
And so
And when we did go back, it was great.
Yeah.
And we wish we'd gone back earlier.
Exactly. But you start to make those assumptions that this store is not a good store to source at. Or you make assumptions where you're like, I'm not good at sourcing as I used to be. I used to be really good. Something's wrong. Something's changed. But that's not always the case. You also start to you just can't seem to find as much inventory in before, and you start questioning, man, I think maybe there's too many new sellers coming in. And so there's not enough inventory to find, and everyone's taking prices, and you start to get negative.
The fees are too high.
Right. There's so many things that you can claim are the problem, but there's a couple things in your head and with the actions that you take that can actually solve this problem of your profits plateauing, of not being able to find as much inventory before. And I want to introduce you to the money cow. This is the money cow. This is the money cow that, man, this cow is just, it's like a store that you go to and you keep finding awesome inventory. You find a lot of inventory, but what happens if you keep going back and milking the same cow over and over again, 24 hours a day? It starts to dry up. Cows are not meant to be milked 24 hours a day. You know, they need to be milked with a certain type of pattern. And so, you know, because they need to make sure that they, you know, refill their supply and that it's good. And the same thing is true when it comes to retail arbitrage sourcing. A lot of times we source for our inventory close to home, source for inventory at the same places, and it shouldn't be a surprise to you that those inventory sources will begin to dry up. And you know, it's not the store's fault. You got all most of the good stuff, and you've got, you know, you just kind of keep going back expecting to find a lot of stuff, but you're not able to. And so my suggestion to you to be able to find more inventory and get out of your sourcing rut is to go on a road trip. Road trips are fun. I love going on road trips. I've been to road trips to see baseball games. I've been on road trips to go to the Grand Canyon, just like I was talking about. Road trips are a lot of fun, but you can combine sourcing with road trips to get out of your sourcing rut and find more inventory on Amazon.
Yeah, and this is something that we've started just in our little business here, started calling it road trip arbitrage, where we get out of our normal sourcing patterns that we might do for retail arbitrage right here around where we live, and we go on a road trip. And it really helps us to break out of old habits. I love this slide. This is going to be one I think that you're going to want to take notes on or do a screenshot once we get to the end of it. But start thinking, if you do have paper and want to just start jotting down some ideas as we go through this, really the key to finding profitable inventory outside of your normal sourcing area is to just start thinking in new ways, creative ways about where you can find inventory that's just outside of the normal, outside of the box where you normally are going, and start thinking through. We're going to give you some categories of how you can start breaking out of those habits and thinking through different places where you can try something new, where you can try a new store. You can source in a new area of town. We've done that before where it's, you know, not the normal part of town that we're always going to, but it's same town, new area. You can source in a brand new town. Get outside of your own town, get out, go on the highway down, you know, an hour away, 2 hours away, get to a new place where you've got completely new stores, either the same chains that you always go to, but new sources, or go to completely new stores that you might not have in your town. You might even want to source in a new state. We've done this a couple of times, and it's a lot of fun to get into a completely new state. And I mean, for some people, where you live might have a really short distance. You might live in a smaller state where that isn't such a big deal, but we live in Texas, and so to get to a new state takes a while.
Hours.
So this is, for some people, this might be easier or harder to source in a new state. Source in new stores. Think about places that you don't normally go.
I always hear people talking about sourcing at Myers.
Mm-hmm.
Is it pronounced Myers?
I think so.
But we don't have that in Texas. I've never been there, and so people are like, you know, that and Ollie's. That's Ollie's is another store I've heard people. I've never sourced there before because it's not in my area. And if you go to a new area, you might find some new stores.
Yeah. And then another idea that we really love is to source in rural stores. So we live in a metropolitan area, but we love to drive out a couple of hours, even an hour outside of where we live, and find some smaller towns, because those places haven't been sourced over and over by everybody in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And which, I don't know how many sellers there are, over 200 the last I heard.
Yeah.
So get out to some smaller towns, and you'd be surprised. I know there's this preconception that we have of, you know, oh, people that live in smaller towns have to do OA because there's nothing there. Well, we've been to some smaller towns and we found some really great stuff. And so think about that. Think about how you can get out into some more rural areas. And then think about trying to source all day. If usually you're going out for an hour or two, see if you can plan a time when you can have an entire day, you know, 8, 10, 12 hours where you can just source that whole day, plan a whole trip that covers, you know, either all of the stores in one area, or you go from one point to another point sourcing, or even try to source all weekend. If you have a weekend that you can get away and you can take an overnight, do that. And think through some of these as we're going over these, and as we talk through some more ideas through the rest of this webinar. Think through all of these different ideas and look at the ones that you've already tried and think about some of the ones that you haven't tried and jot down some notes about something that you could try even in the next week or the next month. We are really excited about this whole concept of road trip arbitrage, especially this time of year. Kids are getting out of school. It's great weather. It's a great time to start thinking about going on a trip to do some arbitrage.
Yeah, and there's two main trips that we like to do when it comes to road trip arbitrage. The first one is a simple one-day trip. One-day road trip where, we either pick a store to go to and we go to every single, store in the area. Like if I want to go to every single Target because they've got a great sale going on, so I go hit as many Targets as I can. Or maybe I just, I just make sure that I spend all day sourcing, because I know sometimes our I can't think of the word, but our patience for sourcing, our energy that we have for sourcing, the longer we do it, the more our energy gets depleted. And so you want to make sure you set up the road trip correctly so that you can make the most of your day and be able to spend all day. Because I love days where I can leave at 6 o'clock in the morning and I come back at 9 o'clock at night, and I've just been sourcing all day. That energizes me because I'm finding new inventory, but it also is very exhausting and tiring. And so I make sure, eat right, drink lots of water, lots of good things like that. But you know what? When you fill up a minivan with, inventory, it really makes it worth the while. And so the longer you can source, the more inventory you can find. And then if you want to take it even a step further, doing like an overnight road trip where you start if you're, want to find a place where you can drive a long distance, maybe you can source on the way there, source at a brand new place far away, get a hotel room, and stay the night, or maybe you got family or friends in the area that you haven't seen, crash at their place and then source during the day, and then come back and be able to have a lot of fun doing so with this type of overnight road trip. So when it comes to overnight road trips, this is what we suggest you think about doing. Pick a fun destination. Like, hey, if you have some friends from college or friends from, you used to grew up with and want to go visit them, pick a fun destination like that. Or maybe if you want to go do something fun, like go see a baseball game in a new town. That sounds familiar.
Talk about baseball games a lot.
Yeah, we do talk about baseball a lot. I don't know why. But, go to, pick a fun destination, source while you're there. On the way there, all the rural places on the way. While you're there, all the places that you can go to, source on your way home. I know one time we took one route going to a destination and sourced all the way there, and then actually took like a different route home so that we can source at different places on the way home. But while we're there, we can write off the work-related expenses and be able to just really do a good job of finding new places for inventory. Because again, when you just source the same old places, the same old time, you're going to get the same old results, and it's not going to be good. It might be great at the beginning, but it's going to dry up, and that cow's going to be a skinny cow, and you want to find a fat cow to source your inventory from. Am I taking that too far? I don't know. So 4 places that I like going when it comes to sourcing destinations. I love garage sales. I am like this dog in this picture. Every time I see a garage sale sign, this is me. I feel like it's a tractor being pulling me, and so I have to stay focused if I don't have time. But you know what? There's some towns, there's some areas of town, there's some opportunities out there for garage sales where you can find a lot of great garage sales all together in one place, and you can source all day doing garage sales. Thrift stores is another one of my favorite places when it comes to sourcing.
I actually prefer thrift stores to garage sales. I don't know why. They're similar in some ways, but
it's the air conditioning.
Maybe it's the air conditioning. I don't know. A lot of thrift stores are just not a whole lot more organized than a garage sale, but still, I don't know why I like a thrift store better than a garage sale for some reason. And so that's we in the past have had a regular thrift store route that we would do in a nearby town on, I think we did it like every couple of months or once a month. We would go and spend a whole day just going to a certain group of thrift stores on a route. And that was a way that we could get out of our normal routine because we had other things that we were doing on a regular basis every week. But this was something that we just put in the rotation every month or two, and we were able to find some really great inventory there.
Yeah, and and we went, like you said, once a month, sometimes once every other month, and the reason why is so that cow can get fat again.
Right, so they can get more inventory.
Yep. I love retail arbitrage clearance aisles. Most of y'all probably love clearance aisles too, but you know what? When I hear certain stores having a big clearance sale, I sometimes just drop everything.
He does.
Yeah, and go sourcing in those clearance. And then this is like the one most people don't, like to do because it requires a little bit more work. But regular store priced, like retail store regular priced aisles, you can find a lot of really great stuff at regular prices that are selling for 2 or 3 times as much on Amazon. And the cool thing about the regular price stuff, that stuff is stocked at almost every store.
Right, and they restock it.
Exactly. And so this picture here, I found some Connects items that were hard to find, but this retail store had a lot of them, and they were selling for a lot on Amazon. And so I stocked up and I filled the cart. It was a lot of fun. So let me give you some examples of some of the different road trip arbitrage that Rebecca and I have been on. We talked about this one before in the past. I'll talk about it again. We drove from Texas up to Kansas City to go see the Kansas City Royals play a baseball game. We have a bucket list. We have a lot of different bucket lists, but one of our bucket lists is to go see every baseball stadium in Major League Baseball. And so we're like, hey, we haven't been to Kauffman Stadium where the Kansas City Royals play. Let's plan a trip. Let's go and source all the way there. We stopped and found lots of great toys on clearance, and some even stuff that were regular priced, and we were able to fill up 2 carts. And then that night we went to a Royals baseball game. They were giving out free cowboy hats. It was pretty fun. And then that next day we sourced all around Kansas City, driving to different stores, and then went to go see a ball game the next day too. And so it was a lot of fun. So we were able to have fun. But you know what? The main reason we went was actually work related. So we were able to fill up the back of our minivan. In fact, I remember one time you were asking if we were even able to like fit our luggage in the back. There was so much stuff back there when we were done, which made us think, hey, maybe one day we'll rent a trailer or something and do this again. Another story, what happened, my family lives in Houston, and so we like to go down to Houston for a lot of different things, for Thanksgiving, Christmas, sometimes just to go see an Astros baseball game.
Or family.
And so we, sometimes we'll source along the way there. If we got the kids with us, I bring them with me. We source in the clearance aisle. I'm showing them, what it's like to work for yourself, and they're helping me find stuff. They're getting stuff from the bottom shelves, which again, if you want more places to find inventory, the bottom shelf of a clearance aisle is, even though it's dusty and nasty, there's some profit down there that a lot of people won't get on their hands and knees and look for, but that's a good opportunity for you. And so we involve them. Again, we're filling up the back of our minivan. This time, we're not able to get as much because we have luggage and kids with us, so we want to make sure that they can breathe. But we're fine. But when we get to Houston, we spend about an hour or so processing that inventory, getting it shipped up, and dropped it off at a UPS store in Houston, and we're able to have an open minivan on the drive home. But that's been something that's been really good. So those are some long overnight type road trips that we've taken. There's other road trips where we just try to go to a lot of stores locally, find more inventory, fill up carts, and have a really big long receipt. That's always a lot of fun to do. And then when we're out sourcing, there's other opportunities that come about. JCPenney, there's a JCPenney nearby that was going out of business. So I went and bought, and you can see it from this receipt. I bought 24 items. I paid under $24 for these 24 items. I saved $456. So if you ever hear about a store going out of business, go take advantage of that. And again, clearance sales are awesome. Love clearance sales. And then finding inventory that you can box up and get home so you can process it. And again, what my goal is to find a receipt, use a receipt that's taller than me. I got really close here. It's almost as tall as me. So it's something to do. When you're outsourcing with clearance stores, though, I do want to make sure that you know something. Sometimes those prices on the items in the clearance aisle are not the actual prices of right now. And you'll definitely find this in a lot of rural, middle of nowhere type stores, because they've been there for so long. In the system, they've reduced the price, but they've forgotten to like update the sticker. And here's an example. I found this Monster High doll, and the sticker said $21.97, but when I went to the little price checker scanner thing, it was $7.50, and at $21.97, it was not profitable for me. So $7.50 was profitable. So be sure you double check the prices. You can use the Walmart app also to double check the prices of what the item is. And maybe when you're done, the clearance aisle will look like this. Okay, that's kind of stretching it. If the clearance aisle looks like this when you're done, kudos to you. And finally, with some stories, again, middle of nowhere Walmarts and Targets and other Kmarts and other type of places, they sometimes have tons of clearance, and sometimes their clearance section is actually organized because there's just nothing else to do. So hopefully you can find some good stuff, and then maybe one day you'll find enough stuff to fill up a Amazon Prime truck. That would be awesome. I just saw this driving. I just had to pull over and take a quick picture of this. So anyway, so if you have questions on the things that we're talking about, make sure you put those questions. We're going to do a Q&A and a giveaway in just a minute. But before we get to the Q&A and the giveaway, I want to tell you about our newest course. It's called The Reseller's Guide to, you guessed it, Road Trip Arbitrage. If you go to fulltimefba.com/road trip, you'll find out a little bit more information, see a video breaking down what to expect. But it's a 60 plus page ebook. You get 4 bonuses, and we'll break down those bonuses in just a minute. There's multiple proven sourcing strategies. We've just barely, scratched the surface of what is in this course, of multiple strategies, and the more details, and walk you through step by step the things that you need to do to have a successful arbitrage type road trip. And so we're going to walk you through how to plan a successful one, how to execute that. And with this course comes lifetime ownership, which means anytime we update it with new information, new bonuses, you get lifetime updates. And it's currently going to be, you're going to currently get this at the cheapest price possible. And when we update courses in the future, we always raise the price a little bit because there's more information, more training. So you'll be able to get this at the lowest price possible, and a 60-day money-back guarantee that if you read the book and you're like, you know what, this isn't for me, we won't ask any questions. We will grant you your refund. But fulltimefba.com/road trip. And to save you a little bit more, you use the coupon code Highway10. You can save $10 off today, and make sure that you take advantage of this sale right now. So Reseller's Guide to Road Trip Arbitrage, it will help you know everything that you need to expect, because to have a successful arbitrage road trip, it's not just going to a new place. It's not just, getting out of your comfort zone and sourcing at a new store. There's so much more that goes into it than just going to a new place. And we want you to be prepared and find that success. And on this page, fulltimefba.com/road trip, you can read through some of the reader testimonials, people who've read the book, people who've been able to put it into action, and see what they have to say about, what they believe is the good stuff from the book, and what they were able to find success with. So go check that out. Now, to tell you a little bit more about some of these questions that you might be asking, okay, so where do I go? We go into that in Road Trip Arbitrage. If you should rent a van, should you rent a trailer, we walk you through the right times to know when to do that. Can you still be profitable if you pay for a hotel room? We make sure that you know ahead of time if you will or will not be profitable. What do I need to make sure I bring? We have a list of things you want to be sure to bring. How many stops should I plan for? We walk you through how to plan the perfect road trip arbitrage route. How do I ship in? Do I ship inventory to Amazon from the road, or do I bring it back home? We tell you the right ways to make that decision for yourself. And how do I even plan a trip like this? We walk you through that with this course, Road Trip Arbitrage, fulltimefba.com/road trip to find out more information about that. Now, Rebecca, tell us a little bit about these bonuses that the people will get.
Okay, so we've got a few bonus videos, and the first one is planning the best sourcing route with multiple stops. And in that one, Stephen takes you through, he does a screen capture on his computer where he is actually planning out a route and shows you how to do that. And then the second one, I do a screen capture where I show you how to find great hotel deals using Priceline Express deals. And, Priceline is how I usually get my hotel deals for these type of trips, but the principles that I'm teaching you, you can use on any type of hotel deal website.
Right, and the cool thing about this video, it's not just for road trip arbitrage. I mean, you can use the knowledge in this video anytime you're booking a hotel to make sure you're getting the best deal and where you're going to get that deal.
And then Stephen also covers 4 ways to ruin your arbitrage road trip in that bonus video, the last bonus video. There's also a bonus PDF.
Yeah, we got a bonus PDF that's all about your budget.
Yeah, it's a worksheet that helps you to plan out. It's broken down into different categories of the types of money that you're going to need to make sure that you have allocated for different expenses on your trip, so that you can plan out, how much sourcing money do I have based on my cash flow, based on what my latest Amazon disbursement was, and then figuring out like how to break down your travel expenses and your other expenses related to prepping your inventory and whatnot, and how to figure out how much money you've got to spend and whether or not it's going to be profitable for you to do your trip a certain way.
Yeah, so those bonuses are included in the guide, Reseller's Guide to Road Trip Arbitrage. Expand your sourcing radius and increase your Amazon FBA profits. Now, we're going to do some Q&A in just a second, but we do have a giveaway. I want to give away 2 copies of this course today to 2 lucky people who are here live. So, Rebecca, we have over 100 people here live. Give me 2 letters of the alphabet.
2 letters of the alphabet?
Yes.
G and R.
G and R. All right, so let's see. You might have to help me pronounce this. Gina.
I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
Fanueli. That's so poor. Gina F. If Gina, you have. I apologize, I could not pronounce your last name, but you have won a copy of Road Trip Arbitrage. So you can find me on Facebook, or you can go to fulltimefba.com/contact us, and you can send me a message, and I'll give you that course. So you said G, and then what did you say?
Did I say R?
I think you said R.
If not, I'm saying R now.
All right, so Rebecca Sutton. So Rebecca Sutton wins a copy of the Reseller's Guide to Road Trip Arbitrage. So Gina and Rebecca, congratulations for winning a copy of the Reseller's Guide to Road Trip Arbitrage. Again, contact me by going to fulltimefba.com/contact us, and you'll be able to fill out a little form to send me a message and let me know, hey, I won the Road Trip Arbitrage course on your webinar, and that will be awesome. So we're going to have some questions that we're going to go through, and let's see if we can answer as many questions as we can. Let's see. You have a tutorial on how to prep products. So I know part of Road Trip Arbitrage is prepping products. If you're wanting to send it in to Amazon, you can either prep it on the road. In fact, we've done that before. We've taken bags of stuff up to our hotel room, and I think we watched something on TV while we were taking stickers off. So we on our blog fulltimefba.com, if you search the word prep, you'll be able to find a couple different blog posts about how to take stickers off, how to poly bag, how to shrink wrap, and different stuff like that, and also how to find prep centers. You can find local prep centers that are far away that you can, maybe you can find a prep center that's near a place that you're wanting to source, and you can contact them to see if you can drop some stuff off there with them. So a lot of different opportunities for that. Martin says, hey guys, I'm planning on doing this over the summer. Any advice on the size of vans I might want to rent and where to rent one?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. And so you want, what my suggestion is if you plan a one-day retail arbitrage, road trip, if you plan a one-day trip, that might give you an idea on what kind of size you will need for, an overnight trip or a 3-day trip or a 4-day trip. Because if you do a one-day trip somewhere, you can get some inventory, and then you can decide, okay, this is the inventory I should expect, so I can multiply that by the number of days I'm going to source, and you can decide if you want to, get a van or a trailer or a U-Haul or something like that. And so
it also depends on what types of inventory you're sourcing, because if you're, if you do mostly, normally if you're doing mostly oversized if you are used to being able to source oversized items, you might need to take into consideration that those aren't necessarily the types of items that you're going to want to get on a longer trip like this unless you have a bigger van. So you need to be thinking through that as well and strategizing, do I want to focus on a certain type of item that will pack smaller in a vehicle, or am I open to potentially needing a bigger vehicle because I'm open to having larger items that I'm looking for?
Yeah, because I mean, I love buying and reselling oversized items. I know there's a lot of people that are scared about oversized items, but there's so much good money in oversized items, and so I like having that freedom to be able to, buy out oversized items that I can sell on Amazon. Because the reason why they're profitable is because most people are scared.
I know, but I do know that there have been times when we've been on a road trip where we've had to say, okay, even though this is going to be profitable, this one thing would be profitable. What are we going to end up having to pass on later on because we're not going to have enough room in the van? So
yeah, that's legit.
You have to take it into consideration.
Right, because even if I can make $50 on something that's like this big, if I can make $100 on 20 items that fill up that same item, it's that opportunity cost to make sure that you think through that. So Martin, I want to hear about how your road trip goes, and so be sure you get back to me about after it's done. Let me know how that goes. This one says, when sourcing at garage sales and thrift stores, do you not follow the rule of quantity and are open to buying singular items? I know a lot of times it's better to have multiple items in stock than one-offs, but with garage sales and thrift stores, most of those items you're going to find are one-offs. So when it comes to like a road trip arbitrage, I would say that garage sales and thrift stores are really good for one-day trips. An overnight trip might be good if it's a really big packed type garage sale or thrift store or whatever. But I know that probably with garage sales and thrift stores, you're just going to buy those one-off items, but at least you're getting them at like next to nothing prices with really higher sales prices, so that ROI, pays for the gas, pays for whatever you need to do to make that road trip arbitrage trip possible. So, Martin says, how do you find reliable prep centers that you can drop off your hauls en route? The best place is just Google. You can Google and you can call them up and talk to them on the phone and get an idea. If you go to fulltimefba.com, we have a few blog posts on prep centers, how to find them, how to pick a good one, and our recommendations for prep centers. So you can go to fulltimefba.com and type in prep center to find out more information about that.
And you definitely want to call ahead of time because you want to make sure that A, they're taking new customers, and B, that they need to be open when you would be traveling through to drop your stuff off.
Right. Yeah, that's good. So Jeff says, when you're shopping at garage sales and thrift stores, do you buy used items and sell them used on FBA?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do. And we love to sell used items. I know some people are scared of that, but the thing that you should be scared of is selling something, calling it new when it's really used. Mm-hmm. But there's really no reason to be worried about selling something when it's truly used and calling it used. Or in the case of the item, you probably, if you've been following the blog for any amount of time, you might know that one of the things that Stephen really likes to sell is board games. And you can find really great collectible board games at garage sales and thrift stores. And so, yeah, it's not used, it's collectible, but definitely, and of course, used books are really great at garage sales and thrift stores too.
Yeah, and if you're curious if you're approved to sell, you can get your smartphone. We recommend using the Scoutify sourcing app. You can scan an item that's used, and you can double check in the restrictions link if you're approved to sell used items, or if it's a toy. You cannot sell used toys, but as long as you call them collectible, then you can sell used toys in the collectible condition. And so you want to make sure that you understand that, make sure that you're approved to do it. But you can, there is definitely a market for used items on Amazon. People who don't want to pay the really high price for the new item, but are willing to pay, much more affordable price in used or collectible condition.
Yeah, and that's only in certain categories, of course. Like you can't sell used shoes or
used baby items,
or grocery items.
Used grocery items. That's gross.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just, like the two that jump out at me are collectible toys and used books are two of the big things to be looking out for at those types of places.
Yeah. In fact, we've had a few questions. What are the main things that you look for at garage sales and thrift stores? Books and board games, are the two biggest ones there. Anything that's still new and sealed and is actually sealed. I once bought at a garage sale what was put back in the package, a facial hair electric razor, and I thought it was new. It looked new, and then I got it home and started seeing some whiskers fall out of the box, and I was like, oh no, this just looks new. So be really careful with that, because like Rebecca said earlier, one of the worst dings on your account can be a used item sold as new.
You're saying it's new, but it's really used.
Right.
Used sold as new.
Yeah. When doing road trip arbitrage, do you buy products and hold them until it's the right time to send them in to make a profit? Yes and no. So there are times that we do, but the time is usually when it's getting closer to Q4, when I don't want to pay a couple months of storage fees, but I know because I've looked at the Keepa graph, and Keepa is a service that tells you the price history and the sales rank history of an item. You can find out more information about that, fulltimefba.com/Keepa. That's Keepa. And so if I know in a couple months the price is going to go up, I'll hold that and send it in later. But I don't do any really long-term holds because of two words: opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the cost of what you're willing to give up in order to get something now, or so. That's the right way to say it?
I think so.
So basically, if I pay $20 for an item that I'm not going to sell until 6 months from now, that $20 is tied up in an inventory item, and so I would much rather use that $20 for something that's going to sell 3 weeks from now. Then I get that $20 plus profit back, put that into an item that I can sell within 2 weeks, that I put that capital and my profits back into my business to buy more items that I can. And so I kind of snowball, and I'm able to be, on the winning end at the end, whereas that $20 is just going to be tied up for 6 months, and it's wasted. I've missed my opportunity to make it even bigger. And so think about that when you are doing any type of long-term type holds. Now, if you just got so much money you don't know what to do with, then that's a strategy. But if you really want to make the most of your time and your capital, find inventory that's going to sell quicker. So good question. Jeff says, what's the best way to find regular priced items to sell from stores? I'm not really sure what to look for, and I'm really worried about IP claims when they are becoming way more common. So it's totally understandable, to not know which items to go to buy on a regular price store. And here's my suggestion with that. And it goes into the kind of preparation that you need to do, especially on a road trip arbitrage. I would go to a store that you plan on going to for a road trip arbitrage, and this is where it's going to take some time. But with retail items, you want to scan as many items as you can. Scan every item on an aisle, and it might take hours and hours to do it. But you're going to find the items that are worth reselling, that are priced at regular price, but are selling for 3-4 times as much on Amazon. When you know that, then you can plan a road trip arbitrage route where you go to every one of those. Like say you go to Target, you find, I found 20 items at Target that I could buy at regular price, and it took me hours to do it, but that's the prep up front. And then I spend all day Saturday going to every single Target in town, or I go to a new town. I go to every single Target in New Town, and I'm looking for those 20 items, and I'm able to fill up and get a lot of inventory because I put that work in up front.
And you've created a list. Mm-hmm. You've done the research. You have a list, and at that point, you're just going in and grabbing stuff off the shelf off of your list, and you probably would want to scan it again to kind of check to make sure that nothing's changed. Mm-hmm. But you're not having to scan every item on the aisle to figure out what am I going to buy.
Yeah, so do your work up front on a store that's close to you, and then plan your road trip arbitrage and go look. And if you have your family with you or kids with you, you can give them the list. They can be looking for you too. More eyes to find the items even faster. But that's a good question, Jeff. We have a couple Jeffs in here that are asking some good questions. Jeff says Walmart clearance aisles don't seem to really be much of a clearance. Items show normal price 40, clearance price 35, or 17.97, clearance for 17. What the heck? We feel your pain.
It's not really a question, but we agree.
Yes, exactly. There are, for some reason, Walmart's data shows that just by putting a clearance colored sticker and, being 3 cents cheaper or $1 cheaper than the regular price kicks up their sales. So that's like their first round of clearance. Then their second round of clearance is usually like 30%. Then the next round of clearance is usually about 50%, and it increases over time. But they want to squeeze out as much profit, as you do for your items. And so that's their strategy. They put a lot of stuff on clearance, and it's not really clearance priced, right? And so yeah, you just have to go through and weed through those. But here's the thing: I've actually found some of those items that were actually profitable to sell on Amazon. I didn't assume. I went ahead and scanned it. And found out, hey, this was a regular price item that's I can save even more on now because it's just barely clearance stuff, just a few pennies, but it's still profitable for me to sell. So again, I've taught this before in other webinars and stuff. Assumptions can kill your profits. So don't make any assumptions. Scan stuff and know for sure if you should put it back on the shelf. But I do feel your pain because it can be really frustrating when you're like, $17.97 on clearance for $17.95. What the heck, So work through that, and you can still find some good stuff. And that also, like I said before, when it comes to double checking the prices, either on a price scanner in the aisle or going and checking the Walmart app, or whatever store app that you're using. Sometimes they forget to change the price sticker on the actual item, and the price on the computer in the store might actually be lower. So you can look into that and see if that's another option. Let's see. Naomi asks, what tool do you use if you to know if an item is profitable? So the tool we use, there's 2 tools you can use. One of them is free, one of them is paid. The free tool is the Amazon Seller app. Amazon will tell you what the lowest price is selling right now, and what your profits will be after after their fees come out. I use an app called Scoutify. Scoutify is an app that will give you the same information as Amazon, but will give you a lot more. It will tell you the sales rank. It will tell you the prices, the low price. It will tell you what your profits are after fees come out, and but it will also give you more information, like quick links to apply to be unrestricted for an item in case that you're restricted. It will give you quick links to Keepa, the tool I talked about earlier, that can track sales rank and pricing history of an item, so you can just see that, man, today's sales rank might look good and today's price might look good, but if I look at like a 90-day average or 180-day average, I can get a better idea of what to really expect. Keepa helps you understand that, and you can do that right within your iPhone app or your Android app by using Scoutify. If you wanted to learn more about it, you can go to fulltimefba.com /inventory lab, and that's the company that makes Scoutify. You can learn more about that company, about their listing service, and about the sourcing app by going to that link. Again, fulltimefba.com /inventory lab. But that's what I use, and I can't imagine doing Amazon FBA without it. Yvonne says, I just purchased the book. Can't wait to get all the way through it and put the strategies into practice. Yvonne, that's awesome. You're an action taker, and you are going to get that knowledge, and you're going to see awesome results. I can't wait to hear from you. Let us know how it goes. Let us know how your road trip goes, and what kind of successes that you've had. And we can't wait to hear from you about that. CJ says, my wife and I are going to be full-time RVing. Would this course be helpful for that kind of situation? So, I mean, I think that this would be helpful to be able to know how to best plan your time. I've not driven an RV, but I know that it's one of our again,
it's a long-term goal for us.
Yes, it is a long-term goal for us to have an RV, to be able to travel. But there are some people who actually live in an RV. In fact, I have a friend of mine, Jeff, who is full-time in an RV, and he drives around and is different places in the U.S. and he sells on Amazon. And a lot of the stuff that he's talked about that he's done is in this book, and so I do think that would be good. If you read the book and you're like, hey, this is not for me, again, 60-day money back guarantee, to be able to get a refund for this. But I do think it would be helpful. Janie says, does Road Trip Arbitrage have any local sourcing tips for online Amazon booksellers, or is this strictly non-book RA products?
It's really not so much the product that the book covers as it is sourcing strategies. So really, I think that the strategies that we talk about can be applied to any type, whatever inventory you're selling on Amazon. It's more about how to plan a trip and how to prep your inventory and how to think through planning all of the logistics out, and it can be applied to whatever category or whatever type of inventory you sell.
Kimberly asks, do you normally carry shipping boxes with you on overnight trips? Normally we don't, because we don't know how many shipping boxes we need. It's one of those things that we'll buy the supply. If we decide to ship the items to Amazon on the road, we'll decide then, after we're done sourcing, how many boxes we need, and we'll go buy them there. We'll go to Staples or we'll go to Walmart. You can get pretty good cheap shipping boxes on the road. We'll bring the supplies with us. We'll bring like packing tape and all the other supplies with us. But
I think we have taken shipping boxes with us before. We just don't normally do that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we talk about, is like how to think through these things and to think through, okay, how am I going to handle making this decision, and will I have these things available on the road? Do I want to take the time to prepare it and bring it with me? That's going to take up space in my vehicle, but it's more convenient. You kind of have to weigh out like those different types of factors, like how much space you have in your car versus how convenient it is to have everything with you versus how much time you're going to have once you're on the road trip to, do certain tasks. Those kind of things are what you need to like brainstorm and think out when you're planning the trip. That's a good question.
Yeah, that was a good question. Sarah says, I'm assuming you're looking for items with the UPC. It is a lot easier to find items with the barcode UPC, so you can just scan it. But again, if you ever do scan a UPC and nothing comes up, type in those keywords in the search bar, because again, Chris Green says, don't be the lazy competition. And if you take just a little bit of time to source a keyword to try to find an item, there was a really hot item selling over Q4 that every one of them, there was like 5 or 6 different variations, and every single one of them did not come up with a UPC barcode scan. But when I searched them all with keywords, they were really profitable. I bought like 400 of them, maybe not 400, like 300 of them, and we sold a lot of them during Q4. And then there's if you find an item that doesn't have a UPC, again, just use the keywords to try to find the item on Amazon. Clarissa says, while on a road trip, can you go directly to a fulfillment center to drop off and save on shipping?
Unfortunately, no, you can't do that. They have a whole process, and some fulfillment centers don't even receive inventory. Mm-hmm. So that's not an option.
Right, and
it would be nice.
It would be nice, yeah. And also, Amazon usually likes to split up the shipments to go to multiple fulfillment centers, and 99 times out of 100, it's usually not the one closest to you. And that can be frustrating, but we need to remember Amazon wants our inventory spread across the United States so it's closest to the customers who are most likely to buy them. Customers in certain areas of the country are going to buy certain items more than other areas, and so they want to make sure they're stocked up there. And so I'm happy Amazon spreads my inventory out. Even if you decide to pay to have it shipped to the same location, they'll still spread it out on their own dime. And so just be aware of that. So a few more questions. We're starting to run out of time, but thank you so much. I've been asking some really good questions. Let's see. Lynn says, do you use Keepa before you go to a store on your trip to determine what you're looking for? I think you just answered that. I actually like to use Keepa when I'm at the store and I've got the item in hand. But there are other times where I've looked at that item on a sourcing app before, and I've looked at the Keepa graph before, so I know to look for it at the next store. And so the answer was yes. I've done both, where I've looked at it using Keepa, so I know what to look for in the future store, and then I've also looked at it while I'm at the store to see what's profitable. Devon says, a lot of times clearance just means they want to get rid of it. Yeah, it's, it's times when the store realizes they've only got a few of items left. They don't want to use that, that that space on their shelf, and they just want to get rid of it, and they're happy to get rid of it at any price. In fact, you can sometimes even negotiate on some items at a store with a store manager or an area manager to be able to get some, even get your clearance stuff even cheaper if you talk to the right person, if you're buying a lot of stuff to do that. All right, last question. What if the box is damaged? And that could be in reference to garage sales or retail stores, because they do sell items in retail stores that have boxes that are damaged.
If the box is damaged, you cannot sell it as new. And so this kind of goes back to the conversation we were having before about selling used items, and that applies to garage sales or retail stores. If the box is damaged, it's no longer new, so you would need to look at whether or not you can sell that item as used, like new, or used very good, depending on what kind of damage we're talking about, and see if it's still profitable, if you're restricted or not, and then whether or not it's still profitable to sell it in used like new condition. But don't try to sell an item that is in a damaged box as new, because that's technically not new. Even if the item's not used, there's a difference between not used and new. New is new.
Yeah, brand new, gift quality condition.
Yes, no damage to the box.
Is new, and so you can still look to see, like Rebecca said, if selling it as used like new or collectible like new is profitable, then you can sell that. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We've had a lot of fun talking about road trip arbitrage. Don't forget to take advantage of this coupon code Highway10 to save $10 off the cost of our new course, The Reseller's Guide to Road Trip Arbitrage. Expand your sourcing radius and increase your Amazon FBA profits. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Really appreciate that. And I guess we'll see you on the next webinar.
Bye.
Bye. See you later.